Alright, so here I'm going to go over the cross-section modifier. And in order to do that, I'm going to go over to front view and make some lines real quick. So I'll go over to perspective view. And the cross-section modifier alone on a single spline isn't going to really do anything for us. What it's going to do is stitch the vertices with new line segments. So I'm going to go ahead and attach these lines together. Actually, to really illustrate how the cross-section works, I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of these so we have them. But I'll show how it works properly first. So let's go ahead and attach these, and I'm attaching them in the order I'm going to want them to cross-section in. So now when I go ahead and apply a cross-section modifier, they just all lined up together. And I can go down to my sub-object level, put on show end result here. And you can see that this is a history-based connection, or an associative connection, where that's going to keep updating. And we have a spline cage that we can then do other things with, like apply a surface modifier or something like that. But what I want to point out here, there's a couple things to point out here. Had I attached them in the wrong order and now placed a cross-section modifier, you can see here that it went to this one and then came back. So that's one of the things to really be wary of when using the cross-section modifier. Let's show end result. You can see here that it stitched them that way. The next thing to be careful with when using the cross-section modifier, and to illustrate that, I'm going to go ahead and show vertex numbers. So you can see all of these, the yellow dot indicating the first point up, and you can see the 1, 2, 3, they all go in that direction. Those are the numbers or ordering of the vertices, and that's also crucial to the way a cross-section works. That's not to say that a line has to have the same exact number of vertices to pull off a cross-section, although that helps. Just go ahead and show what happens here when we take the spline and we reverse it. Now we go back to our cross-section, you can see that they flipped. So also something to be wary of when cross-sectioning geometry. And trying to think here what else is the cross-sectioning types, whether they're smooth, that's for the intersections, they're Bezier or Bezier corner, that's for the connections between them. Let's go ahead and fix this so we can see it a little better. So you can see now that connection is smooth. And if we want our underlining geometry to be smooth, we can either do it at the spline level itself, or sometimes I'll use an edit spline modifier just to store it so I can get rid of it later if I don't want it. And we'll go ahead and change those to smooth. So now we have a overall smooth surface, or spline cage really. And I'll go ahead and make a box over here just so we understand that these are splines and we're not in wireframe mode. So, and the last thing I want to cover on the cross-section modifier, like I mentioned a little earlier, is the fact that they don't have to have the same number of vertices. Let's go ahead and show end result, and you can see here that it's stitched up. Let's add an extra one and see. I'm going to keep adding these, kind of see how far it's willing to go. And you can see it connects them all up. So it's going to do its best to connect the vertices as long as they're in the same order. And here you can see our cage is working, our spline cage, which you can then surface or put an edit poly on or any of those kinds of operations. So that's the cross-section modifier, and feel free to post any questions in the comments section.